Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here, and welcome to Mornings with 60 and Me. Today is Saturday, it's October the 29th. So welcome to Saturday, welcome to the weekend. I hope you're doing well. It's a really cold and icy morning today, and I have got my lovely cup of chai tea. It's sweet chai. It's a black tea, and it's got cardamom, nutmeg, cloves, all kinds of really beautiful warming spices. So that's my tea for this morning, and looking forward to a nice weekend. I hope that you've got something fun planned, time with your family or friends, and let me bring you up to speed on what's going on in the world first, and then share a couple of stories to kind of get you going for a really positive and happy weekend. Now, in the United States, last night, one of two engines on an American Airlines 767 plane failed as they were taking off. The plane landed safely. All the passengers were able to escape and with the crew, but there were 20 people that were injured. It was a fairly miraculous escape because it could have been much worse, but that was coming out of O'Hare, Chicago Airport, heading to Miami. So hopefully everybody who was involved is doing okay. That's obviously a pretty traumatic experience. So hope that no one in our community was involved. Let us know if you were. So that's the United States. In Belgium, huge sigh of relief as the Winona region of Belgium has agreed to sign on to the CETA Canadian Trade Agreement. Finally. And on Sunday, President Trudeau will be signing on behalf of Canada and get things off. It's a good decision. In the United States, there's more drama around the elections. Last night, they announced, the FBI announced they have discovered more emails that they're investigating, and Hillary Clinton is asking them to reveal all the details because no one knows really what they contain or if it will change in any way their decision about that they've made to not prosecute her for her use of email servers when she was Secretary of State. But there's new emails they're investigating, and that's another interesting twist in the American election. In Russia, this is interesting news. Yesterday in the United Nations, Russia was defeated in a bid to be re-elected as a member of the Human Rights Committee. This is a really powerful group in the United Nations. They look at human rights issues around the world, but Russia lost by 2 votes to be re-elected, primarily because of their involvement in the situation in Syria. So that's interesting news from Russia. In the Philippines, sanity reigns as President Duterte has said that God has told him to stop swearing. You know, he's a very outspoken man. He's caused all kinds of ripples around the world, but he says that now he's received divine word that he should stop swearing. So that will change his approach. In France, the general consensus is that the migrant camp, the jungle, has been closed, but there are still a lot of young people under the age of 18 who were not able to get onto buses and be rehoused in France, partly because they chose to stay. They wanted to continue their journey to the UK, where they have friends and they have relatives. So right now they're in a bit of limbo, and the reports are that they're now starting to settle in other areas around Calais. And also there's a lot of people going to Paris, and the migrant influx continues there. They're overwhelmed with requests. So that's the situation in France with the migrant population, the refugees. And just very briefly, in Mosul, the attack by the government forces and coalition continues. They've got about 60 more villages to sort of take back before they get to Mosul, but they are expecting a very dramatic situation. They have killed almost 900 jihadis so far in this mission, but there are a lot still in Mosul, and they are in turn executing citizens who fail to support them. The value of human life seems to be dropping there, but it's just a very sad situation. But the government is on its way to hopefully regain Mosul from the ISIS soldiers. And this story I found yesterday that really surprised me. I wanted to share it with you because I know we have all kinds of women in our community who love animals and care about them. But it turns out that the worldwide population of mammals, birds, fish, reptiles is dropping dramatically, and it's plunged 52% since 1970. I didn't believe that number, but I went and checked a bit further, and it's the worldwide WWF, which is I forget the group that manages, looking after wildlife around the world and reporting on situations that are putting them in risk. And they say that this is the case. High-income countries are obviously taking out a lot of the Earth's natural resources, including impacting animals and wildlife. But the people that are really feeling it the most, according to the WWF, are the low-income countries that they're just suffering this loss of their ecosystem. And of course, there's lots of groups trying to, to help these animals to stay healthy and well. But 50% drop in just over 45 years. So there's lots to be done. So one more story just to share quickly here about the self-driving cars. We've talked about, about this a couple of times, and it's all happening. And Uber, a couple of months ago, Uber's the taxi driving company. They're sort of competing with local taxis, but they have a whole network of cars around the world. And they bought a company called Otto. And Otto makes self-driving trucks, big old trucks, 18-wheelers. And they this week or last week did their first test, and they started a truck in Denver, and in Fort Collins, and it was driving to Denver, Colorado, and it was about 120 kilometers. And they got this truck, they got it onto the main highway, pressed the engage button, and the driver let the truck take over, and it drove without a driver for 120 miles. And delivered its load of Budweiser beer. And of course, the drama of it all was that a series of drones delivered pizzas as well. So it was pizza and beer deliveries. Of course, they stayed on the highway. They didn't try to navigate any of the difficult city environments with unpredictable things like people and dogs and, just kids on bicycles. But it worked, and they got their truck from Fort Collins to Denver. No incident. It's the future. Excuse me 1 second. I've got a bit of a cough coming. Apologize for that. What's the next thing? Oh, yes, this is my feel-good story. It is the weekend, after all, and we do things, hopefully, with our families and friends. But there's an article that was written by, I think it was the Parapositivity people, and they listed what families that are happy do differently. And this is like 5 things that happy families do. And maybe your relationship with your family isn't perfect, but there are some things, maybe one of these 5 that you can do, and anything that can really help you, to build an environment that, that is positive. So here's what the 5 things they say you can do. By the way, we don't have the classic, Cleaver family and the Bradys anymore. So we admit that life is changing. Families don't live together. They're not that close by. But so there's added challenges, but there are things that we can do. So here's what we can do. First, make family traditions. Everybody's busy. Everyone's doing their thing. Everyone's got their work, their own children, perhaps if you've got adult kids. Everyone's busy, but there are things you can do to maybe establish some traditions. So, for example, if you live in the same area, you might be able to get together, every Saturday or Sunday for breakfast. Just make it a pancake day, or do something that people look forward to every week or every 2 weeks. And set aside a time for doing things that you can all do together. Go for a walk, maybe do a hike. Agree that you're all going to just walk and not talk, but just get together. And, I think watching football games together, watching the grandchildren's activities together, just something that creates a tradition. That's number 1. The second thing that they found happy families exude are a spirit of giving. They like to give back. So happy families often do things for charity. They mentor groups together, and that sort of giving gratitude attitude is another characteristic of a happy family. Another thing they do is practice kindness and compassion, and they kind of put forgiveness and positivity first. Now, families don't agree on everything, no way, but there are things that you can agree to do. If you have a difference of opinion, just be friendly about it. Try to not wind people up. Just accept that there's a difference and move forward. I know right now there's probably a lot of difference between families as to do with the election in the United States. And, a lot of Facebook posts and activities that are controversial. And they found that people that, that are kind and generous just don't, argue about it. They just accept each other for what they are, who and what they are, and what they believe in. And related to this is that happy families tend to share values, that basic values. And this has got to do with an appreciation of your place in the universe. Now, not everyone in the family is going to have the same religious belief, but it's good to have a shared value that there's that we're not the most important thing in the universe. That there's something bigger than us. There's something more important, and even if it is just the belief that people matter, that people of all kinds are important, is having some sense of purpose as a family that really helps. So that's another one of the things that they say. The final one is to be. Most families who are happy tend to worry less. They prioritize the big things. They don't stress about the small challenges and differences. But when they do have a situation that's a problem, they deal with it quickly. They get on the phone, they get together, they have a family meeting, and they just talk about what's going on and try to come to some kind of agreement that they're going to differ or that they're going to do something about it. So I think those are 5 kind of really useful ways of looking at happy families. The scale of happy, maybe there's just happy we get along okay to happy we get along and get it together every day. But I think there's finding that balance, especially now that we don't live always in the same towns. It's important to remember our families, to remember our history, and to appreciate that even though we may not see each other that often, that we have each other's backs. We're there for each other. It's important. And there's a quote here that I wanted to share by Maya Angelou. It's a really lovely quote, and it's just very simple. She says, "I sustain myself with the love of family." Yeah, there's probably not much unconditional love in this universe, but if there's anywhere that it can exist and maybe should exist, it's in a family. To love each other unconditionally, regardless of style, beliefs, and anyway, that's I think an important message for today and for the beginning of our weekend. So I have a question for you that I'd like to ask. And before I do that, I really do want to say thanks for being here. I am so impressed by all the conversation that's going on our website when we release the news. Go up to 60andme.com/mornings if you want to get the news first. And then you can go up and leave comments and meet your sisters from 60andme. And if you've got a friend, tell them this weekend about Mornings with 60andme. Tell them what we do here. Share the good news, and ask them to join the party. It's more fun with lots more people. So 60andme.com/mornings. Thanks again for being here, everyone. I'd like to end with a question, and just to build on really the topic of families. And I would like to ask you, what rituals does your family practice that brings you closer together? Or what family rituals do you think are important? Leave your comments in the section below and we'll have a conversation. I'll jump in and add my thoughts too. And I look forward to seeing you all back here tomorrow on Mornings with 60andme. Take good care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.